It is. It is great. It is a great sound.
Yes,
I love it.
I'm getting used to it.
Yeah?
I should slowly.
It's like getting home, right?
No, yeah, it's that thing you have there that you sort of
you can't get rid of. Is that one of those things?
You have to get used to it.
Okay, I got it. Hello, everybody out there. Welcome to PrePlayTV on our usual Monday program. Mm-hmm. It's an expert talk.
Mm-hmm. And I guess you already realized it is not going to be in Swedish tonight, even though it should be, because our guest is Swedish. And
that's true.
Yeah,
that's true. He's one of those Ströms, I heard.
I hope we can practice a little Swedish tonight.
Yeah. Oh, that would be fun.
What was the first sentence that we saw on
it was
on chat? We will.
Wait, I'm scrolling up.
We will.
Poligenio.
No, it's not the yellow from the egg. No, that's not Swedish.
That's not that one. I'm scrolling up. Here it is.
Yeah.
Prata.
Vi inte svenska idag. Oh my goodness. It was probably completely wrong.
I don't know. Well, Google translated it. So
yeah,
at least grammatical
words.
It's fine. It's
fine.
So we have a guest today, and we don't want him to wait any longer because he's a very, very, very interesting and nice guy,
and also pretty busy. So we need
he's pretty busy. So we paid a lot of money to get him here, of course. And no, we did not.
He did not accept, so he stayed where he is. No, actually, he's on Skype. And
he's on Skype.
We do not have a video, so you can just hear him, listen to him, and he will introduce himself.
But that's him. That's a photo of him. There's no video today.
Yeah, exactly.
But we're gonna look at his beautiful photo the whole evening.
Did we choose the right photo?
I don't know.
Yeah, but it feels kind of disturbing to have people just look at a photo of me.
Well, I mean, we can turn it off later on. Let's just keep it there for 2 minutes, and then after that they know how you look like, and then we're gonna switch to your website anyway.
Yeah.
Welcome to our stream tonight. Tonight. Yes. And who are you?
Who am I? Yeah, I'm a 30-year-old.
Single man
from Sweden. I've been a part of the eSport industry for around 17 years. So that's a pretty long time, almost since the start of the eSport scene or eSport industry. I've been a professional hockey player before in Sweden.
Oh, so that was your photo. Wait, we have a better photo of you. I found it. Just give me a second.
When Swedish people are talking about hockey, they are talking about ice hockey, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because there's only this one kind of hockey.
Yeah. So I played in Allsvenskan in Sweden. And that's the second highest league. So I played for full time from when I was 17 to when I was 25. And then I started to study computer science. And during that time, I also founded my first eSport organization. It was a non-profit organization that held eSport tournaments online in Sweden.
Yeah.
And that's called Heute Gaming. And we had some professional teams in Dota 2. It was one of the best in Europe. They lost in the last qualification to the international versus Moscow 5 with 2-1 in maps. So that was pretty annoying. We got really sad when it happened. And we also had some really good Counter-Strike players that played for us, both in our main team, but also in our academy team. And 2 players from the academy team at that time that we picked up that were just young kids with a lot of talent are now playing in the highest league in Sweden, in Elitserien.
Okay. He's really starting from zero, right?
Yeah, exactly. And we also had a lot of really good people that was a part of the organization who are now working full-time in esports, doing their own thing in different organizations and in different companies.
So maybe can you drop some names here? People might know. I don't know.
In Counter-Strike, it's Goffe, who's really good, and also Shrew. Shrew is actually the son of a really famous Swedish artist, Per Gessle, who was a part of Roxette.
Roxette.
Yeah.
That's almost ABBA-like.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking about Googling them right now to take pictures and put them on the screen, but it's not gonna happen.
No. Please don't.
I can't type those names down.
So that's some of the players. We also had in the organization Orange, who is the best Hearthstone player in the world, was a part of Heute Gaming for a time. We also supported a team with where Olof Meister played in. Now plays in. I'm not even sure what team he played.
Well, I think he's playing Face Clan.
Yeah, probably
by now. He's shifting like all.
But he's one of the players. And in Dota 2 we had a really good team, solid players. But right now I'm working with Learn2Esport. That's a company that I founded together with Dan, the guy who I also founded Heute Gaming with. And we help schools and organizations to educate people through esports. So we have built an educational platform with different features and different tools for both students and teachers to be able to learn more about esports, connecting it to different curriculum and different subjects, helping the students get better as players, but also as coaches and analyzers and managers and in different occupations in the esports scene. So basically, education is the heart of our company.
So you do all the cool stuff young people in Austria would love to see here, right?
Yeah.
Basically,
exactly.
Just to summarize it,
Yeah. And I also run a company called Zeigt, and that's a programming company where we build websites and applications and so on. We have some really talented developers, and we work with companies like Spotify, so on. And I also run a third company that is similar to Learn2Esport, but for sports instead. So you just remove the E. So
Is it copy paste?
Yeah.
Is it that simple? Is it actually that simple?
Yeah, pretty much. But I run 4 companies right now, but the main focus for me, where I put in the most of my time, is definitely Learn2Esport. Esport is my biggest passion and the thing I really love to work with.
Okay,
Great.
That's great. So, Thomas, I have a question for you.
Me?
Yeah. How did you get in contact with Rasmus?
Oh, Rasmus, can you help me here? Actually, how did we get in touch?
I think it was our mutual friend Kalle Ögland.
Yeah, right.
Who introduced us to another. Shout out to Kalle.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he's with us. Karl Ögland is a teacher in Finland, right?
Yep.
And he's also bringing esports to his school for a while now, right?
Yeah. He's been doing it for a couple of years and been doing a good job. He's a really great guy that helped me get a lot of new connections in the esports scene that I didn't have before, like in different schools and so on. I have a lot of contacts in the esport industry and the esport business, but he shared some really good contacts with people from universities and different schools and so on.
It's actually a whole new network, right, compared to the professional scene.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's the guy that introduced us to one another.
And you were also sort of co-founder, if I understand it properly, of the what's it called? The esports network that we have on Facebook. What's it called? esports.fi or something?
Kalle was the founder of that.
Yeah. Which is
exactly.
sort of landing place for people from all over Scandinavia by now, right? There are the Icelandic people. There's the one Danish guy, I forgot the name.
Christian.
Yeah, Christian, and also quite some universities by now, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he's done a great job with that group, and I mean, him introducing us to each other has led to a cooperation, and the same with the guys from Iceland. I'm also working with them, with Arnar and his team, and I also work a lot with Christian Kramer from DJI in Denmark, who's doing a great job there with coaching Counter-Strike Global Offensive coaches. So they coach the coaches, and that's also something that we do. So we have been sharing a lot of experience and helping out each other a lot.
I was thinking maybe we go one step backward. What does it mean to have a company in the esports sector in Sweden? How does esports work in Swedish schools, and how do they define that? Like, what are their opinions on esports in Sweden?
Yeah, so right now it's really, I mean, it's really good. When we started the company around 3.5 years ago, it was too early, but we felt that we still want to do it and just develop the concept and the platform and everything we have and learn as much as possible, because we knew that it would only be like a couple of years before it would explode.
Which it does at the moment, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, what was the major indicator that gave it away, in your opinion?
For me, it was, I mean, we ran this organization where we held tournaments and so on, so we came in contact with a lot of young players, and we saw a really big problem when it came to a lot of them, and that was that a lot of young players, they put in the time, they put in enough time to actually become really good, but they don't really practice the esport. They just play game after game, and they don't analyze the game or go through it and see, what did I do wrong, what could I have done better, and so on. That's something that we noticed, that it was a really, really small percentage that actually did that. And the people that did that is the guys that are professionals today, or at least some of them can live off the game. So we saw that problem, and we also started talking to schools about it and the principals, and tried to figure out if they had any problem. And a lot of the principals were like, yeah, we have a lot of students that play, and they're always tired in school, and a lot of them don't really care about going to school. They just want to go home and play more.
I think everybody ever out there who was a teacher at any point in its life has an experience quite similar to that. At least one.
They play these stupid games all the time.
It's not the stupid. I mean, that's for some it is.
That's what I heard today.
The general opinion might be something like that.
It still is, at least here in Austria or in the German-speaking countries. We have a lot of difficulties with all of the cliches and all of the public discourse that focuses on violence and addiction, and people sitting in the cellars, in their caves down there, playing the computer all the time. You don't have that much in Sweden, right?
No, not. It's not that right now. It was like that only like 3-4 years ago. But as I said, we identified a problem at the player side, and we also defined the problem at the school side. So then we just decided to try to solve those two problems with one solution. And we can't solve it for everyone. I mean, we can't get everyone motivated to school and so on, but we have gotten a lot more students motivated for school by using esports, and also got a lot more motivated to actually treat esport as a real sport and actually try to do something from it that they can have a benefit from for the rest of their life. But yeah, we've dealt with that. Since I've been in the esports scene for such a long time, I've been dealing with that a lot. So I'm really happy now that I don't really have to explain to people here in Sweden that esport is big and that it's actually a good thing, because a lot of the people here actually recognizes that already. And of course, there are people that will never accept it, and they hate new things. And
so I guess that's the main reason why you're expanding, right?
Yeah.
Because it's getting okay.
Yeah, it actually is getting okay, especially when we talk to them and talk about the benefits and how we try to help people by educating them in esports, that we're not only focusing on creating professional players, because even if the esport industry is really big, there's a really small percentage that can actually live of the salary they get as esport players.
Yeah.
Because we're still early there. We need a lot more years to catch up to the real sports that people call it. But I mean, like football and hockey and American football and so on, because they're more structured when it comes to like the divisions and so on.
But it is.
So
I think it is still a way to go to convince a principal to integrate esports into their curriculum, right?
Yeah, for sure. And what we have done there is we are not focusing on. I mean, the principals doesn't really care that we will help their students get professional players. I mean, that's not the main reason for a principal to bring esports to school. So the part that we push on and is that, okay, we can help your students get more motivated. We can actually reach these students that you have a hard time reaching out to because you don't understand what they like and what they do on their spare time or free time. So we can actually do that for them, and we can show them how important the school are and how important different subjects are if you want to work in the esport industry. And when the students get that connection, they instantly like start to putting in more time in to the other subjects and also more focus to the esport lessons. So it has actually been a success at the schools that we have worked with, but it hasn't been like all an easy ride to say. I mean, we started out with one school in Avesta with a principal that really believed in us, and we tried to do. I mean, we always try to do the best job we can, but we were too naive in the beginning. We thought that we could build a platform that was so good that we could just. The school doesn't have to have a teacher in the classroom. They can only use our platform, and then they have an esport profile. But we pretty quickly noted that that's not the case. I mean,
that's not how it works. Yeah,
you have to have a teacher in the classroom to keep the students in check and to be able to support them and help them and show them like how the platform works and be like a mentor for them. So
I guess in the best case, it should be someone who understands esports in all of its beauty.
In best case, it should be that. But it's not a demand. I mean, it can only be a teacher that we educate in how our platform works, in how our system works, and everything like that. But yeah, so the last couple of years we have built the platform as a tool for the teachers and the students more than just a like complete solution that we said in the beginning.
So what subjects are these teachers from? Do they need to understand sports, or do they need to understand how organization works, or what's their profile? What kind of teacher qualifies for being a Learn2Esport teacher within a classroom?
If you are an educated teacher, that's all you need to have. I mean, you need to have the pedagogical side and be able to actually keep the students' attention and help them to focus on the right things. But we provide them with the courses needed that are created by professional players and analysts and coaches together with educated teachers. So we provide the teacher with everything they need to run the eSport profile. So the teacher, the teacher should only be a teacher. That's the main goal. They already have all the qualities needed to hold these classes. So
we actually have a question from our viewership from Tendol. He's asking, can Rasmus name some countries that do well in esports?
Do you mean as like players or teams, or do you mean more like?
I think I'm not completely sure, but I think he means the general public opinion, educational side. Are they accepting esports? Are they implementing esports within their society. I guess that's, I'm not sure, just say yes or no to all, and we can go on.
Might still be interesting to answer.
I can answer both questions, if that makes it easier. So the countries I think that are doing a really good job when it comes to supporting eSport and actually making it, promoting it like eSport, like a real sport. I would say Denmark is doing a great job there.
Yeah, absolutely. I need to nod. That I was thinking of Christian and what is happening there. It is amazing, actually, for such a small country, right?
Yeah, I mean, Denmark is ahead of us in Sweden when it comes to accepting it as a real sport. But we are ahead in other areas when it comes to the esports scene in Denmark. But I think Denmark is a really good country when it comes to the esports scene. I would also say that Malaysia is doing a really good job. The government there is putting in a lot of money, and they have also claimed eSport as a real sport or an actual sport. So they are doing a really good job. We're actually starting to work with some universities and gaming centers in Malaysia. I would also say that USA is doing a really good job and also a really bad job.
Like always.
Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, so there's a lot of schools and universities that is starting like varsity esports and putting in a lot of money on building these big esports centers at their schools and hiring a lot of great staff and treating it like a real sport. But there are also schools that are just doing it to get more attendance and try to make like money out of it. But I mean, that will be the case everywhere in the world. But I think since it's so new and so fresh, I think it can be easy for principals to trust the wrong persons that claim that they are eSport experts and that they can help them start all these eSport programs, because they don't really know how to check if the person really knows eSport. So I think there's a lot of schools that doesn't treat the quality of the content and everything as high as they should. But there are also schools in USA that are doing like a great job, like a really great job. For example, UCI Irvine is a really, really good school when it comes to esports, and they're doing a lot of research in these areas as well. Our head of education actually attended the UCI eSport conference last month. Yeah.
How about Korea?
Korea, I mean, eSport is big in Korea, and it's accepted, and it's been that for a long time. But I'm not really sure if they have implemented it in the educational part at all. I haven't heard anything about that. We are expanding to Southeast Asia right now, and the countries that are moving really fast is Malaysia and Singapore. A lot is happening in India as well. I know that China is also starting to try to get into it more. But I'm not sure about Korea when it comes to the educational part. But of course, it's a great esport country. I mean, they have so many talented players in both League of Legends and Overwatch and StarCraft and other games as well. So, but I'm not sure how it is on the educational side.
Have you heard about British or English educational institutions that focus on esports? Because there's a lot in the news in the last few months about British universities, for example.
Yeah, I've heard about them. If it's like the British Esport Association, I've seen that they've done some good job over there, and I also see that some of the universities have started to work with esport as well. But I know that some schools have been doing a good job, and I know that some schools are just offering courses that they already have, and they just try to make them a little more esport-like. And I don't really think that's the way to go. You have to do it like all the way if you want to get the students or give the students the right tools that they actually need to be able to work in the esport industry.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think it's a little bit similar to the whole topic of game-based learning. There are experts, so-called experts, popping up everywhere at the moment. I just did a seminar today at university, and we were actually talking about the use of games within the general use of games within education. And then people were talking about Kahoot and learning apps and all of this so-called game-based learning. And it is it seems to be similar in esports. By now you have new experts coming up every single day, as it seems. And it is a little annoying, but at the same time it also shows that there's a lot of potential in that market.
Yeah. I mean, there's these last couple of years, there's so many esport experts and esport consultants that have been popping up that you have never heard of, and they have never worked for an organization that is like big or any organization at all. But so it's hard to actually know who to trust and who did what and so on. But as you say, I think time will tell, and these people will not be in the industry for that long if they are not serious.
I mean, I think it's especially hard for. I mean, just think about if you, in case you are a headmaster of a school, university, whatever, and then you hear of that eSport,
that thing called
esports, you know, the new thing.
Yeah.
And you heard it from someone, you should do that because it's getting big. And then you Google on the internet, and you find like 1 million people that do esports, right?
Whatever that means.
And how should he know who to contact? I mean,
exactly.
It's such a jungle.
You should contact Learn2Esport.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Guess what I tell them. No, actually,
I mean, I think it's really hard. It's really hard to actually see who, as I said, who did what in the esports scene and who are good at it. And a lot of people that get a lot of credit and is seen on a lot of different streams or have a lot of followers. I mean, that's not enough to be an esport expert. I mean, that's more like an influencer. So there's a lot of people striving to be esport influencers and then trying to be esport experts. And those are a lot of people tend to turn to them when it comes to advice in the esports scene. But I don't really know or have an answer. I mean, try to at least look up the company. If you search for an esport company and see how long they've been around, and try to Google some of the people that are mentioned on these websites and see if they have like a Wikipedia site or a Gamepedia site and something like that, and just try to see that they actually have been in the esport industry.
Yeah. Same with new teams and stuff like that, right? They are popping up everywhere, and we have one case here in Austria that is very controversial, and people doing esports for years are really sort of banging their head against the wall because there's a new organization coming up who's claiming to be soon to be number one in Europe, so to say, and you cannot really take it seriously.
Especially if they started a crowdfund, right?
We don't want to call names. Let's leave them out.
Okay.
Everyone here in esports Austria might imagine who we're talking about. We are not calling names, but there's one more thing that I see by now, and that is actually from the other direction. There are esports organizations who claim to be doing education by now. I don't know if you have seen that so far. I have seen 2 or 3 organizations that claim to do an academy, and actually the only thing they offer is a lot of play time for the players. They are saying, well, we have that gaming house, we have that academy program, but they actually don't know anything about education. And then they are that bold that they even tend to tell experienced educators how to do their job properly. And that is also pretty problematic, I'd say.
Yeah, I think that as well. And I really hope that, I mean, there's a lot of people that would fall for these things, and I think it's good that a lot of teams start their academies and start education. I mean, at least if it's serious team, they have a lot of knowledge to share. And not only as players, but in all the roles that are in an organization. Like in Heute Gaming, for example, we have tournament administrators, we have like marketing people, we had salesmen, we had like so many things, like commentators, we had streamers, we had so many things. But if the organizations that are serious start to get into education and start teaching that, I think that's great. But as you said, when there are unserious organizations doing this, they are just like making it harder for everyone else that are actually doing a good job and trying to be serious. They're just ruining opportunities for other people.
Yeah. Have you heard about the work of NASEF, North American Scholastic Esports Federation?
Yes. We have we're talking to them a lot. We actually got invited by them to the UCI eSport conference.
Amazing.
In Los Angeles. So we're talking to them a lot, and I think they're doing a really good job.
Yes, absolutely. I'm just mentioning them because, as you know, I have been into game-based learning for a while, and some of the top researchers there, they come from game-based learning. There's a Constance Steinkühler, for example, and they did tremendous work before they entered esports, and now they are bringing it to esports too. And what is happening there, I think the main focus is Orange County in California is actually amazing and will be very, very influential for the rest of the esports universe.
Yeah, they're doing a really good job, and we really like them, and we are actually talking to them a lot about possible cooperations and how we can work together, and because they have been approaching the eSport scene and the education part from one side, and we have been approaching it from like a different angle. So I think that could be a perfect fit, to be honest.
Yeah. So Sweden is just a starting point for you, right?
Yep.
What are things coming up that you can already talk about?
What I can talk about is that we have started releasing certification courses through universities in Malaysia and Singapore. So we have our first students there taking our courses in how to run an eSport organization and how to run eSport tournaments. And also in our general course about the eSport industry, how it works and how everything fit together. And we are also expanding to USA, to different universities when it comes to certificate courses, and also learning centers and gaming centers. But we have also signed some reseller or partner agreements with some really great organizations, one that you are working with.
I'm just waving you, Rasmus.
Yeah. So that is one really good, and we have also signed with this academy who helps us in Southeast Asia, with House of Esports, who will manage the Benelux area. They're also doing a really good job. And also an organization in USA that we will announce soon. But we have been really selective with the people that we have chosen to work with. Only people that we really believe that we can trust in, and that we share the same values with when it comes to eSport. We don't just want to find companies that can help us sell a lot and make a lot of money, but they are only focusing on the money. We want to be able to share the passion for eSport and education and try to do as good as possible, because I think that will win the race in the end.
To do the right thing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's actually. I think we found out that in Austria it seems to be quite problematic if you have moral, like according to sponsorships,
moral standards.
If you have them, it's pretty hard to get sponsored. At least what they told us, right? I mean, I don't know about the sponsors in Sweden, right? But in Austria, it is the case that most esports teams that have a sponsor have one in gambling or in any related field to that.
Yeah. I understand the teams that try to do what they can to survive and to get the money needed, but we are an educational company.
Yeah.
We deal with people that are under 18, and we would never cooperate with companies like that because.
Did you have any offers?
Yeah, we had a lot of offers.
Plenty, I bet.
Both with Learn2Esport, but especially with Heute Gaming when we had our professional teams. But we were a youth organization, so we had the same standpoint at that time as well. We turned down every offer like that, and we will keep doing that as well. It doesn't matter how much money they will throw at us. We don't believe that the gambling and things like that has a part in school or in education.
Yeah. Does it have a part in esports?
I think it will have a part in eSport because even if you don't like it, I mean, if you look at sports, for example, football and ice hockey and so on, there's so many people betting and doing it to get like a more thrill of watching the game, and a lot of the teams have these as sponsors, and so I think it will be a part of esports whether you like it or not. So for me, it's like I try to, or I stay out of that side because I don't believe that it fits with our values and what we are doing. But at the same time, I understand how people might think or reason when it comes to keeping their own organizations alive and moving them forward. But that's up to them.
Yeah, but still, it feels a little weird if you have a Fortnite team that is sort of around 14 years old, and at the same time, your main sponsor is one of the major gambling companies, no matter where, right?
Yes, of course.
Just wrong.
That's how we reason as well.
We actually have a question from the viewership. They ask, is there, I guess, anywhere in the world, is it possible to get a bachelor or master degree in esports?
I don't think it's only like a bachelor or master in only esports.
Yeah.
I've read some articles about it some time ago that were schools working on it. I'm not sure if they are done or not, but I don't think that there's enough in just esports to actually teach, so it could be a full bachelor or master. I mean, you have to choose an occupation at the same time, like programming in esports, or marketing and how to market in the esports industry and so on. It's hard to only like be educated through esports, but because what will you become then? You will become like an esport expert, but what will you do? What will you work with? I mean, you have to have an occupation.
I mean, what will you work with? That's a question we ask right now, but I think within the next 5 years, it might not be a question anymore. Right?
Well, actually, it is happening already. We just had a comment in chat from Karibu about studying it, and she said there's a bachelor in esports management in Hamburg, but I think it's not in Hamburg, it's in Kiel in Germany. You can do esports management for a while now. I think it's the second year or something like that. Bachelor's degree in esports business is also there.
Yeah, exactly. But then you have something to fall back on. I mean, then you can work in sports management, or I believe that the educational part of the curriculum is pretty similar to a sports management course, but tailored for esports.
Yeah.
They just found the link. It is Hamburg. They were right.
And I found one in Finland as well. Bachelor degree in esports business.
Yeah, it seems here it's like event management for esport teams, marketing, and digital innovation. So basically, it's connected to different occupations that are out there. And if you do it like that, then I think it's really good. But yeah.
I would like to have a closer look at your platform, if you don't mind. How do you use the Learn2Esport platform, and who can use it?
Right now, it's schools and organizations that can use it, and the students and the teachers there, of course, and also our content creators. So if you are a student, for example, you get a learning path connected to you, and that is based on what game you choose to play and what skill level you are. So we have different courses for different skill level, and we have different courses based on if you want to practice or become anything else than a player. If you want to become a scout, for example, or if you want to become a analyst, we have courses for that as well. And also if you want to learn more about programming and how we can use that in the esports scene. So when you have a course path, you get these lessons and you get quizzes and you get exams, so we can follow up that you actually are learning what you are reading and looking at the videos that we have. So yeah, the lessons are based off videos, text, and images, and they're created by professionals in different industries. So you take these classes and then you have different assignments, like practical assignments, where you should do different things and different quests and so on to get better as a player, but also always have an understanding of what you are learning. We have a feature called game journals, and that's where you get your data from the last game you played, and you also do like a quick analyze of the game by writing what you did good, what you did wrong, what you want to focus on the next game, and you fill in these different values that can be measured. We have also built an analytical tool for analyzing games that's called Game Reviews, where we have a video of your game uploaded, and then you can review it, and you can draw on the screen, and you can save different timestamps to different situations that you want to highlight. You can also get these reviews from more experienced players. You can also learn how to do these reviews. So some of our more experienced students can do reviews on the new students. So they actually learn by creating reviews, and at the same time the new students learn because they get good advice from more experienced players. So that's some of the parts. We also have a calendar. We also are working on a tool where the students can schedule games against each other. Right now we only use Discord, so the students can schedule practice games, and they can have professional coaches watch them and give them tips and so on. So yeah, basically it's like a virtual campus or a learning management system. And you can also create your, if you're a school and you have your own eSport coaches, for example, a school that we work in, we work with Grillska Örebro. They have one of the best Swedish Counter-Strike players, Snyder, who played for Fnatic before. So he's actually one of their coaches. So he have a lot of knowledge and a lot of things he like to teach in his own way. Then he can create his own content and mix it with ours and create his own courses and his own learning paths. So there's a lot of different courses and a lot of different ways for people that want to learn different things. And there's a lot of tools that we are working on to help both players and teachers to make it better, and also to give the teachers a really good overview of what the students are doing, like what course they have done, how well they have done in that course. Is there anything they need to practice more on that they can support them in? So yeah, we are working a lot to take the platform to the next step.
What is the next step?
The next step is to work more on our analytical tool and get more data that we can use to automate the process to be able to show students that, okay, this is something that you should practice on. This is what you could have done the last game.
So the tool does some kind of analysis on replays and looks at the way you play, or how does it work then?
Yeah,
What's your plan?
both analyze of videos and also analyze of the data and making assumptions based on patterns that we find, and then we can use these patterns to connect them to different courses and lessons that we have. So if we see, for example, that a student has a really hard time farming, and then we can also see that, okay, he doesn't have a hard time farming in League of Legends in the first 10 minutes. The first 10 minutes are good. The point where he starts lacking in farm is between minute 10 and 20. Then we can see that, okay, this is the problem. This is where we need to look at why is this happening. So then we get the student to start looking at those points in the games and trying to figure it out themselves. And after they've done that, they get lessons connected to that that can help them to actually find these problems themselves and how to solve them and how to take the next step. Because we want the students to learn this, because they will only use Learn2Esport for a set amount of years when they go to school. So when they are done with Learn2Esport or they take the next step, they will still need to be able to do these things. So that's what we are trying to do, to give them tools that they can use for the rest of their life.
I'm not completely sure, but is Dota a part of your lessons?
Dota will be a part of our lessons really soon, and the people watching this is one of the first to actually know that. We haven't even made a press release about that yet.
World premiere.
World premiere.
Yeah.
The reason why I'm asking is I was looking at one of those many YouTube videos out there where Elon Musk's AI destroyed the world's best players in Dota. Maybe you should give him a call to analyze players' data and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely give him a call. I really doubt that he would answer, though.
Well, maybe you get a free flamethrower from him. I don't know.
Yeah. That would be a dream to work with Elon Musk. That would be insane. But yeah, that would probably never happen. But yeah,
never say never.
No, you should never say never. Maybe that should be one of my next goals, to be able to get Elon Musk to try Learn2Esport. But yeah, his tool was really impressive, and I mean, it feels like he can do anything when it's come to technology. So yeah, I'm not surprised. But yeah, that was really cool.
But isn't that the next logical step on that, right? If a team plays against an AI and the AI is analyzing the whole thing, just thinking, just throwing it in the room and see if it's standing. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is a way to look at it. I think it can be kind of boring as well if the AIs find out a way like this is the perfect way to play a game and every team tried to play exactly that way. And the thing that these AIs doesn't really take into the equation right now is that there's other lanes than one, and the lanes need to work together, and they need to have this communication and be able to do all these things as a team. Because if you only have an AI that reacts to what you do, they will always like be one step behind you when it comes to team fights and these things. But because the AI that Elon built was like, I think they played 1 versus 1 in mid lane only. I don't think it was
they played a lot. I mean, it doesn't matter to go into that topic anymore, but they actually played together pretty well over all of the lanes. It wasn't just 1-on-1.
Okay, yeah, but I haven't seen that full video.
I'm gonna send you a link.
I think I only watched, I think it was Dendi or something playing mid lane, like with Shadow Fiend or something like that. But yeah, it will be interesting to see how that
Do you want to see it?
In the future. Yeah.
Just a sneak peek?
Yes.
So,
put it on stream. Why not?
But I think, well, if you want the video to be banned, I don't know.
Yeah. But I can watch it afterwards. But yeah,
to consider the use of data and a lot of data, like big data almost, then to talk about AI is not that far away, right?
No, it's not. I think it can be used as a tool to like look at different part of the games, and some are already doing that and try to make it better. but I don't want it to become too much. I mean, some parts of the game that are most fun is when people do unexpected things, and if it only becomes a macro game where you only farm and try to do these things as good as possible, I'm not sure that will work out, because esport is entertainment.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah. And the greatest stories are the ones with the nobody beating the star team. That's what you're going for, right? That's what sports is about.
Yeah, like, exactly. And that's also these parts that are so important that cannot be calculated or taken into equation when it comes to AI, that people's feeling and how to work under pressure and how it is to play. I mean, if you sit at home in your apartment playing a big tournament versus sitting in an arena full of people just screaming at everything that happened in the game, there's so many things that are hard to practice on when it comes to data. Like, you can't tell the people how they should react on scene, or I mean, you can help them to handle stress and stressful situations, things like that, but you can't only watch at data and these AI parts. You have to give them the whole toolbox.
Absolutely. And I think you cannot really train what it feels like if 50,000 people are screaming, right? It is just this special once in a lifetime moment. And that's actually the one thing that fascinates me the most about Dota, especially because it has these huge stories. The last 2 years with OG winning the TI, the first year with the best friend leaving the team and meeting them in the semifinal and stuff like that. That's what makes it worthwhile, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's what people love, and following the players that they like and listening to and reading up on these stories, and that's a really big part of the game. And I mean, it's the same with ice hockey and any other sport as well. People love their profiles and they have their team to cheer for, and they have their favorite players and everything like that. So
I think that's also one of those things you can train, right?
Yeah.
Up to some point, like the showbiz aspect of all of that.
Yeah.
It makes a difference if
debatable.
Debatable. Just think about it. You're in front of a camera, interview situation, and there's a person A that just says yes and no and all of those kind of things, and then there's a person B that builds up a story.
It's always about stories.
Just think about the clutch, right? A lot of teams played. I mean, a couple of teams played there. It wasn't the most famous tournament in Austria, but it was okay, right? People were looking forward to see what's happening there, and they had those interviews in between, right? And there was this one team that lost 16-0, and I think it was Counter-Strike, and over the whole match, I think they made 2 frags or 3 frags, I'm not sure, like the whole team. So they lost extremely hard, right? But in the interview, he was actually pretty funny because he said, just wait 1 more year. I remember you, right? He was looking into his eyes and said, I'm going to remember you, and you're going to remember me. Right? So that's building up story, and that's personality, and that's something that can, at least up to some point, be trained, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think some people are charismatic and they have an easy time doing this and getting people in a good mood. But there's also in esports a chance to show that when you are playing as a player with the plays you may make. And a lot of players that are super popular and have a lot of fans are not the most charismatic guys. But they are really good at what they do, and they make plays that the fans love. So I think you don't have to be like a really big entertainer to become big in esports. I think
but it's making it a lot easier.
Yeah, of course.
Well, like most things in life.
I'm always thinking when we talk about that kind of topic, and we do that actually quite often, I think. I always think about Ninja. At some point, he was maybe, it's debatable, always the best player in the world when it comes to Fortnite. But
for me, he's a mediocre player.
Well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Look at how many people watch his streams and stuff like that. How much money he's making out of that. And I mean, to me, he's not really charismatic at all. But to the viewership, he is.
Yeah, I mean, he know how to entertain his audience.
Right.
He's a genius when it comes to that.
Yeah. He's dancing with the first win of the day and stuff like that.
Yeah,
you know, that's something other people wouldn't do.
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy that people loves watching, and it's the same with a lot of other players that they are good, they are really good, but they might not be top 10 or top 20 in the world, but they have the skills and they have the charisma. Then you have a good mix to become a really good streamer. But streaming and playing professionally are like two different things.
I know.
So yeah, if you have the charisma and are a good player, yeah, then maybe streaming is the thing for you.
Yeah.
So I'm only good at streaming.
He's actually just bringing the charisma.
Yeah.
But that's fine.
I'm just here for the looks, you know.
You know, I tried to get a goal, but
I have two more things that sort of came to my mind when we were talking. When we have a look at these esports titles, they are sort of games as a service. You don't have a new Counter-Strike every single year or a new League of Legends. Was there ever an occasion where you had to change the content of your courses because the meta changed so much?
Yes. When it comes to League of Legends, I mean, in the beginning, when we really built content around metas, we had to change this all the time. But as the time moved on and we figure out that this is not scalable, like this is not something that will work when we grow, especially in League of Legends, the game changes a lot. It comes new heroes, they nerf some champs, they do a lot of updates all the time. In Counter-Strike, it's easier. I mean, Counter-Strike doesn't change that much, to be honest, if you compare to other games. But we have, the last couple of years, been building the content in a more general way. So people learn how to look up what the new meta is and how to use that information in a beneficial way. So we have been working like that for a long time now.
And the second thing, do you teach, or is personality training part of Learn2Esport?
Do you mean like to become a streamer or something like that?
Well, I think that there are people who are good at streaming or who are good influencers share some traits with people who are successful at esports. It is a question of how you see yourself, how you plan your training, how you prepare and stuff like that.
We haven't been working too much with streamers, to be honest. We've been working more with the players and comparing how the esport players do their working, do their training, and how they prepare and how they gotten better, and compare that to professional ice hockey players and football players, and with different occupations. But we haven't really touched streaming that much, since it's more like acting. Like the good streamers are actually like actors, so that's not really something that we have been trying to focus on. I've seen that people have started like influencer programs on some schools, and we won't jump on that ship. We will focus on the esports scene and different occupations. But of course, I mean, you can be a commentator, or you can be like a broadcast talent and so on. But I think it's pretty hard to actually teach someone how to be a famous and good streamer.
Don't you think it's a major part of being a good esport person or esport player to being able to promote yourself. Like, I mean, just I'm just the way I'm looking at it. Let's just say we are an esports organization. Let's just say we are there, and we have a couple of players, and we want them to be better. For an esports organization, better is not necessarily being the best player out there, but also what kind of marketing value they have. Like if I, as an esports organization, if I want to get a sponsorship, it's not just who is the best player out there, it's also how are they promoting themselves.
I think that's important for the players, but I also think that puts a lot of the responsibility on the organization to have a framework that the players can use. Like, okay, this is how you stream, this is how you put up a schedule, this is how you act during our streams, this is some of the competitions you can do, this is how you build your personal brand, like build your Instagram and Twitter and help them out with different competitions and so on. Because if you want to become a professional player, like become some of the world's best player, you have to put all your time into practicing and doing these parts.
But isn't Learn2Esport like the tool an organization would normally use? Doesn't matter if it's a school or if it's an esports organization or whatever kind of organization it is. Whenever you have to do with esports and you have a team, you have to provide certain tools for them to get better.
Exactly. The platform is perfect for that. And to build your personal brand is something that we have courses around, and but it's not the main focus of our education. It's a part of some courses that we have.
Okay.
So I mean, it's an important thing, but I think that puts. I mean, the responsibility is more on the organization and how they want to do it. But because the players should focus to become as good as possible at the game. And if they become good enough, they will get a lot of attention. But I understand where you're coming from. I mean, if you are running the organization and then you want, I mean, it makes your job easier to get sponsors if you can provide the sponsor with numbers. Like, okay, this player has 100,000 followers on Instagram. But it's kind of hard to reach that before you have become famous because you're a good player. I mean, otherwise it's more like might be better for your organization to acquire streamers or influencers if you want to sell that part of it. Because if you want to have these professional teams, then you want them to play in these big tournaments that has a lot of viewership and so on, so you can sell that to the sponsors. So yeah.
But at the same time, I just would like to add that I see a tendency of esports organizations to build more on that pillar. If you have a look at what Astralis did to become one of the best Counter-Strike teams in the world, they were really, really good before, but they were they had the image that they will lose the final, and then they got these special force people from, I think, the Danish military, and that's what made them become a winners team, for example.
Yeah, they took in like psychologists and people who helped the team work with the mental part of the game and also with their physical part. I mean, you have to give yourself every opportunity to get better than the other players, because everyone is practicing as hard as they can and they're putting in all the hours needed. But the teams that actually find the ways to like revolutionize the way of doing it and try to, maybe we can focus one less hour on practical CSGO training and putting that into like handling stress or focusing on other parts. I think that could help them a lot, but it's not easy to do these adjustments when you know that your team is in the top of the world, because when you do these adjustments, it could go a lot worse for a while. before you start to see the benefits of it. So I think it's a pretty scary part for the professional teams, but I do believe that the people that are, or the teams that are actually doing it, like Astralis, will become world leading in the end.
Mm-hmm.
Probably most of them, yeah.
That's really. I mean, that's what we are watching right now, isn't it?
Yeah,
more or less.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if Rasmus. I don't know if you know that, but we actually have an esports team. I don't know if Thomas told you.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we are actually experiencing something quite similar. Whenever they are under too much pressure, at least I think that's my point of view, what I've seen so far. If they are like 14-3 behind or something like that, in Counter-Strike, then that's where they are at their best.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. They have some brilliant plays.
But
if
they lose the first round, they lose the next 4 to 5 rounds as well.
Always.
Yeah.
So that's always the same thing, right?
At least it feels like that. And even if they are in front and it feels like, oh, this is going to be a simple one, then they are sort of not playing up to their best.
Yeah, they're not taking it seriously, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, it is so easy.
It's so hard to say something like that.
It is so easy to say they are not taking it seriously. Of course, they are taking it seriously. Yeah. They just become a little too
tense or relaxed, or I know exactly. I mean, that's the thing you have to do, and this is something that is really easy to say, but it's hard to do. And just treat every new round like with full focus and try to forget the round that you played before. I mean, of course, you should take with you the information you need to make the next round better, but you need to be able to drop that negative things from the last round and just reset. And that's the thing that I have seen, that the players that I played hockey with that are playing in the NHL now were the people that could actually shake off everything when they did like a bad pass that led to a goal against our team. They could just shake that off them and go out and play the next shift as if nothing happened and just focus on the game. And those are the players that got to the national team and plays in the NHL. The people that thought too much about their mistakes during the game and got in a bad circle or had like negative attitude, they didn't come as far as the other one. So I think that's a really important part to practice on that too. To be able to treat every round as a new round and don't focus a lot on the negative things. Those things you can take after the game and talk about what they should do.
It's so easy to say that, right? It's much harder to implement it.
Yeah,
it's like saying to some depressive person, why don't you just smile once more, right?
Be cheerful.
Yeah. Just be happy. I mean, what's the problem?
Exactly. But I think, there's, for people that are depressed and I feel like that, there's a lot of help to get. I mean, with different like therapy and talking to people that have the tools to help them. And I think it's the same for eSport teams as well, and that they can use the same people and the same persons. We are actually working now with educated psychologists on a course when it comes to mental health and how to handle stress and how to be able to reset yourself when you play these games and keep focus and just taking round after round until the game is done.
He actually gave us a great idea. Maybe we're gonna try that with our team as well. The psychological way of seeing the world, the healthy way.
Bring in the therapist.
I actually think that could be good because they have the tools needed for the. I mean, only like breathing exercises, like taking a couple of deep breaths and refocusing and doing these things as a habit are pretty small things, but that can help the players a lot.
Do you think we should ask a couples therapist? or is a normal one sufficient?
I think a normal one is sufficient. But I'm not sure how the chemistry is in your team. Maybe a couple therapist is better. I think that's for you to decide.
Sometimes it feels like they are an old couple, you know?
Yeah.
But I have another difficult one for you. It is a thing that people are discussing a lot here in Austria and in Germany, and it is the question of, is esports a sport, or should it be considered like one? Do you think about that sometimes, or do you just not care about it?
Should we tell him about how the esports organizations in Austria see that, or is it?
I don't know. We could, but
yeah, but you know what? Let's. Yeah. Rasmus, it's your turn.
Yes. Yeah, I don't really care.
That's a good answer.
That's a really good answer, actually. Yeah.
It's like, if people think it's a sport, okay. If people doesn't think it's a sport, it doesn't matter. I mean, everyone that are involved in it knows how big it is and the benefits of it. And if people don't see that, then I don't really care about that. Esports is esports, and it's great. I mean,
I think that's actually the best answer.
Yeah. For me, it is also true that it is not that esports needs sports, but in a few years, sports or the Olympics, for example, will need esports to keep their position. You know, because if you have a look at how media develops, to sort of exaggerate it, you could say that the viewers of traditional sports are sort of dying out. And the viewers of esports become more and more because young people focus on esports rather than sports.
Yeah, for sure. And I've actually been talking a lot too, because we see that in Sweden here as well. A lot of the smaller cities that had a lot of hockey players, like for example, when I grew up, we had 2 teams in a city with 13,000 people. We had 2 teams in our ice hockey team at the same age as I do, and now they don't even get like a half full team because there's so few people actually playing ice hockey, because they are doing other things, and one of them is esports. So we've been talking a lot to some of the sports associations and talking to them about how they can reach players and keep them in their organization by adding, like, for example, an NHL team for PlayStation or something like that.
Is it the same in Sweden? I mean, in German-speaking countries like Germany, Austria, Switzerland, a lot of the soccer organizations, and soccer is the main sport here, try to implement esports within their portfolio.
Yeah, that's happening here as well.
Mostly FIFA, of course, but
we have that weird sort of differentiation. We have e-gaming and gaming, and everything that works well with their approach to sports, like FIFA, is accepted as one kind of sport that fits their portfolio, and all the rest with these people shooting other people, they don't want to have anything to do with it.
Those school massacring.
Yeah, exactly.
Counter-Strike people, right?
FIFA is popular here in Sweden as well, and I mean, there even is a league called eSvenskan. That's every team in the highest league in Sweden in football have their own people competing for them in FIFA as well against other teams. So it's becoming really popular here in Sweden as well, with FIFA and connecting it to different football clubs and so on. So yeah, but I don't see a problem with people that doesn't think that these other esports and FIFA doesn't belong together. I don't see that as a problem here in Sweden.
Okay.
Well, here it is sort of a fake discussion. You know, it is a lot about rules that apply if you do an event. Like, are people allowed to a Counter-Strike event at the age of 16, even though the game is open for people who are 16 years old? Still, we have some rules that say, well, if you do an event and there's music and you sell drinks there and stuff like that, and it should be only for people who are 18 or older. And there there are problems coming up when you want to have an event. For example, we have one big or rather big one coming up now, which is done by an Austrian energy drink company I don't want to name, and they actually have a Counter-Strike tournament there, and even though there are some players that are 17, which is absolutely fine, the tournament was meant to be open to people 18 or older, because there was this rule that this music event, drinks and stuff like that, and people who are below 18 are not allowed to that festival. And people are struggling with it, you know, because there are really good teams, and they have one or two players who are below 18, and they cannot compete in the tournament because of these rules. That's why we are discussing that.
A lot of esports organizations are actually laughing about it. Like in a way, they're never gonna see us there, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's the general opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's. I mean, was the problem that they serve drinks, or what was it? I mean,
it's local law actually.
Yeah,
it's local law, because they are taking. Even though we are in Austria, the Viennese local government takes a look at German age restrictions when it comes to games, and so they are not allowed to let people in that are 16 or younger.
Only because the age restriction of the game.
Yes.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But then there are some other provinces in Austria where they say it's more about the sports than the game itself, so they allow that typically.
It's sort of a typical
weird.
Austrian thing.
Yeah.
You need the right person in front of you on the right day, and if he says, well, I like you, then it's fine. If he says, no, not you, not today, then it's not fine.
It feels a little bit like southeastern European countries, right?
Don't blame
I don't
Southeastern
blame
Europe. No.
I don't blame them.
It's a traditional thing. No one is ever going to understand, you know?
Yeah.
And that's why this comes up once and again, and it is a question that we have to talk about quite a lot, even though we don't want to. It is not about esports being a sport. The competitiveness of it is obvious. The benefits are obvious. That's why you are doing what you do, and we are doing it too. But you sort of have to be part of that conversation again and again, even though you don't want to. You know, it is a fake discussion, and that's really annoying sometimes. That's why I just wanted to hear your opinion.
We have gotten. I mean, sometimes people talk about these shooting games leading to violent people.
Look at Germany, right?
And everything like that. And I'm not an expert in this area at all, but I don't feel or believe that the games are making these people do these things. I mean, if a people has like the capability to do these horrible things, I think it will happen sooner or later. I don't think it is because they have played, for example, Counter-Strike or any game like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's more like a personal thing, or what to say.
Well, it's just a blaming strategy.
Yeah, it's easy to try to put the blame on something else than the actual problem at hand. So yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the...
And gaming sort of feels like the most favorite group of people to be blamed, right?
Yeah.
For years now. But on a lighter note, you said that Learn2Esport is expanding, and it is not only about regions and about schools. I guess it is also probably about games. But I would like to find out not only what you are including in your portfolio in the upcoming months, but maybe what you would like to see as part of the Learn2Esport program, or as part of the esports circus, as there are so many games coming up. Like, I don't know if you have heard about the Farming Simulator Esports League that is heavily sponsored by farming companies.
Yeah.
Maybe even a personal preference, right?
Yeah. What would you like to see as part of the esports portfolio?
I'm not really. I think there's a lot of really good games. What I would like to see is more openness from the game publishers, because that's the thing that's really keeping esports from becoming an actual sport, if you want to call it that. That it's hard for people to organize their own tournaments or start their own league or do these things when the companies own all the IP and they don't want it to people to use that. But some of the companies that we are working with, without mentioning any names, are actually really open to what we are doing, and has been a real help for us.
You're talking about publishers.
Yeah, game publishers. Yeah. But I think I should mention them because they're doing a good job. But yeah, we had a really good experience with Riot, and we have a really good experience with Valve, and they have helped out a lot. And they are doing it. There are other game publishers. They are not that easy to work with, and makes it really hard. So I would like to see more open esports scene, and the game publishers to open up a little bit more and not only focusing on trying to own everything in the whole esport industry themselves. I think that's what I want to see more than like any new game or any genre or something like that.
I also actually heard a lot of good things about Riot in the last couple of weeks, to be honest. What do you think about their, how should we say it? You heard the latest news about them publishing a game within every major esports genre?
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I saw some trailer about
the Counter-Strike thingy.
FPS game. Yeah. I think it will be interesting to try them out. I don't really know if they will be a success or not, but they definitely have the team and the funds to do really good games. And I think Riot is heading towards a good direction. There's been some parts the last years that has been like maybe not the best for a company when it's come to the culture in the company and so on, but they have really, really taken responsibility to fix that from what I've seen.
Still better than Blizzard, right?
Yeah. I mean, Blizzard is creating really good games, but they are hard to reach out to if you are a small company or
any kind of company, I would say.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to burn any bridges with Blizzard by bad mouthing them, but they are definitely harder to reach out to than other game publishers.
Yeah.
I also say, and I don't need to fear any burnt bridges. I am also not that much of a fan of that sort of NFL model that you bring a team to a city, like Overwatch has these Dallas something and Tokyo something. I think it is really limiting when it comes to spreading a game into other countries and create an esports around a game like Overwatch, for example. Here in Austria, Overwatch could be much bigger if you have a look at people streaming the game. There are actually quite some people streaming it, but when it comes to esports, Overwatch does not happen here in Austria.
Same with Dota, actually.
Yeah, well, Dota is another topic.
It's a different reason why, but it's still same.
Yeah, I think it's kind of boring as well. I mean, eSport is like international. It's supposed to be for everyone everywhere. I don't see the need to connect it to a city like that, at least not in a franchise model. I think it's good if you can do it in a grassroots model and build it from that part and up.
Absolutely.
But I don't, and I also believe, I don't really see how all these teams that have bought a place in these franchises, how they will get their money back.
So much money. Oh my goodness, I think it was 15 or 25 million for a slot.
Yeah.
For one season?
Yeah. I have a really hard time to... if I had that money, I wouldn't buy a place in a Overwatch League with that. So yeah, I think they will have a hard time getting that money back if they don't.
Well, it's just a marketing budget, right?
But you see what happens there. We have a similar discussion with Call of Duty and the league they are creating at the moment, and major esports organizations like 100 Thieves are actually publicly opting out of these leagues because it is just not worth it for them.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same thing there as with Overwatch. I mean, it's hard, and I think they should try to be more open. But I mean, if you do it like that, it works in USA in sports. I mean, NHL is the same way. It's like a franchise. You can buy a place in the same with every league there. But if you look at the rest of the world, it's not like that. I mean, in European football, for example, there are so many divisions, and a team can climb from like Division 5 to Division 1 in a couple of years.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I love about sports. That it's possible for teams in smaller places to actually get to a really high league, and that affects the whole town, the whole city. But if you do it like a franchise, that will never happen. And a lot of young talents will never get the chance to become professionals because they get like rejected too early because there are not as many divisions as it should be. I mean, and some people don't even have to aim to be pro. I mean, some people are fine with playing in Division 6 in football or Division 7 and having a good time. And I think that's how it should be. It should be for everyone.
Have you ever heard about the topic of IO games? Like
Krunker.
Yeah, mostly Krunker actually. Games published by small development teams or single developers that are published under the domain of .io, and they do not have a major publisher behind them.
I have seen the game Agar.io.
Yeah. That was the first one that got popular, but there were others like Snakes.io, Tanks.io, stuff like that. And there's actually one game that is called Krunker. Krunker.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Yeah. It seems like a Minecraft CS clone.
Yeah, sort of. You had a very good comparison about it. It is not only a CS clone. It is
it in my opinion, it plays a little bit like Unreal Tournament when it comes to speed and aiming.
Yeah. I'm
it has Counter-Strike maps and it looks like Minecraft.
Yeah,
so that's my experience with it. But it's a lot of casual fun. But there are still a couple of clans and stuff like that, like those typical esports mini organizations.
Yeah,
that just form when you have a title that's
mostly private
for that. Mostly
private, and it is a team of 2 or 3 developers, and they are actually doing a pretty good job. And we have a person here, Halo, a friend of us from the US. I don't know how old you are, Halo, 17 or something, or 15. And I went to a summer camp for young people, and we did gaming there, and we were talking about having a LAN party in the evening, and there were a lot of 10-11-year-old kids, and they said, come on, let's play Krunker. And there were 60 kids there, and about 40 of them knew Krunker and played it.
And we never heard of it before.
We never heard of it before, and we consider ourselves specialists in gaming. And
yeah, this is the first time I hear of it as well.
See?
And it is really big, actually.
I need to look into that more. And I think it would be so cool if a game like that would become a really good esport. But the fear I have is that if it becomes too popular, it will be bought up by
probably.
Yeah.
a company owned by Tencent. So
Owned by Tencent.
Bought by a company that was bought by a company that was bought by Tencent.
Yeah,
Something like that.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, Tencent owns a part of both Riot and Blizzard, so that says.
Yeah, exactly. They actually own everything.
Yeah.
They are bigger than the publishers number 2 and 3 on the market. They eclipsed everything.
Yeah, and that's that makes it hard for it to become like hockey and football and everything like that.
Yeah.
When it's company run. So
to be honest, I actually never heard of Tencent like up to, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
That's the first time I heard that name.
Yeah.
I think they played the Ninja game pretty well up until that point.
But now everyone knows them.
Now everybody knows about the bad Tencent, right?
Yeah. So, but I really think the eSport scene and the eSport industry has they will have really good years before them, and I almost envy the young kids of today, the opportunities they will have if they want to become or work in the eSport scene. I mean, I work in the eSport scene now, so I'm not feeling bad for myself, but I think they will have such a cool opportunities to actually have eSport integrated in school and actually helping them create their own future with something that they love. That's something I wanted to have had when I was young as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And me being sort of kind of an evangelist, though I hate that word, but me being a person propagating the benefits of gaming and its culture, I always say that we are actually right in the middle of a revolution. Because if you have a look at the education sector, it lacks really basic aspects, and young people do not care for the problems that the educational sector has. They are actually just playing games, and by that they perfectly prepare for a future to come. And school and academia do not really realize yet, when it comes to a general overview, how big the potential is of these technologies, of these cultural techniques, actually.
Yeah, I agree. And the schools that have understood that, and the schools that we are working with, are so far ahead of the other schools, and they will, like, the gap will only get larger for every year that goes without the other schools actually integrating esports, because they will lose out on such a huge percentage of students when it comes to motivation and attendance and these things. So
and all of the skill sets that you actually cannot really teach at school.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's one of the most important parts that we do to actually help the students utilize the skills they learn through esports, because everyone learns a lot by playing esports, but they don't really know how to utilize what they learn. They don't even know that they know these things. I mean, there are 14, 5-year-olds that are in-game leaders that are coming up with new strategies. They are writing them down in documents. They are scheduling their tournaments. They are scheduling practice games. They are looking out so that everyone in the teams know what they should do and when they should do it. I mean, they are basically project leaders and project managers at the age of 14, but they don't know that, and their parents don't understand that. But when we tell them that, okay, what you are doing now is something that you could be doing at full time at a job when you're grown up and making a hell lot of money out of it, then the parents get really interested as well.
And that's actually something you really could use as, I mean, just look at Learn2Esport. They learn so many skills that are necessary for like a daily job. I don't know, like a normal job. Let's call it normal job, whatever that normal is. But
yeah, absolutely. And if you have a look at people who are paid for or having a look into the near future, if you listen to them and hear what they say about skill sets that you need to acquire to be well prepared for the near future, and actually you can sort of tick every single one because it is part of gaming. It is part of esports.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
A few weeks ago we had a discussion about speedrunning, which sort of reminds me of esports actually a lot. And there are people who are programming task bots. A task bot is a tool-assisted speedrun bot, and it is a program that solves the game in the best solution possible. And there are young people creating programs to play a game perfectly.
Exactly.
And if every single company is probably looking for people like that, and these are 16, 17-year-old
Elon Musk.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They are the future, and it is happening right now. And if you are listening to the teachers, they probably say, well, this some kid, I don't know what he's actually good at. He's always playing his games, and he should be going out a little more, and he should read some books or stuff like that. No? So it is a weird time, actually. It is the best and the worst time to be alive, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
So we are actually almost at the end.
Any famous last words?
Yeah, exactly. Famous last words. Or even better.
We didn't ask him a certain question.
Yeah.
Like the question what he's playing.
Oh, yes.
Right? We usually ask that every time. So, what are the games you are playing?
Oh, this is
/play.
This is a game that I really haven't played a lot at all during my life, and it's not even an esport, because I played a lot of Counter-Strike, I played a lot of League of Legends, Overwatch, Dota 2. I mean, I played every esport, but right now I'm actually playing World of Warcraft.
That's okay.
Classic? Like
yeah,
the
classic. Yeah. So it's more like I always compete at what I do. I like 100%. I always go all in. So I try to find a game where I don't really have to try to do that. I can only play it to relax and just have some fun.
How about single player games?
No, I can't. It's the same. I don't think it's fun.
Okay. So you need other people, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think that's like the most fun part.
Yeah.
So I play it only like casually.
How about cooperative games?
Cooperative games, yeah. Those could be fun.
Like Unrailed or Overcooked and stuff like that. It's still competitive, but you're not fighting against each other.
Yeah. But as soon as the competitive element get in it, I get crazy, and I just it's like that with everything. I play a lot of paddle. Not sure if you know what it is. It's like the fastest growing sport in the world, next to eSport.
What is it called?
Like
paddle.
It's like tennis inside a cage with glass walls. It's really, really fun to play. So I play that a lot. And since I'm super competitive, I try to get as good as possible. So tomorrow I will actually play 4 hours.
4 hours?
Yeah, I will play first 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours at the evening. So I will be so tired. But yeah, so I have to have a game where I can only relax and play casually. So
it is like tennis, isn't it? Sorry for comparing it. Like or squash. Yeah. Is it squash?
It's like a mix of squash and tennis.
Yeah.
It's really fun.
I have a very good competitive game for you. It is called GeoGuessr. Have you heard of that?
No.
I think it is actually a Scandinavian invention. It is geoguessr.com. And it is a game that is based on Google Maps, and you are sort of
it's a Swede who have developed it.
Yeah, exactly, and it's one of the most undervalued game in my opinion.
This looks fun.
This as an esport is what I am aiming at, you know?
That would be cool.
There are actually leagues, and you can create your own maps and stuff like that.
That would be cool for an
can
older
create your own
audience.
Yes.
Like what? Like World of Warcraft.
No.
What do you mean
No,
if you create your own map?
you use an existing map, but you create starting locations.
But just think about playing it within World of Warcraft.
GeoGuessr within World of Warcraft? Yeah. I would not be good at that. But I really love the idea, because you need so much skill, you need so much knowledge to be good at the game, especially if you play it in a timed mode, like you have 2 minutes to find out where you are, and this is really, you can be a really skilled player if you bring a lot of knowledge to the table, and I would like to compete in that, but there's no such esports so far.
Yeah, this looks really cool. I mean, I know a lot of people that would find this fun.
Yeah.
I would probably get too competitive at this game as well.
Oh, maybe we should host a contest.
Oh, I really love it, because you can be really competitive.
Would be fun, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I would start for the.
I'm not sure if it would work as a big esport, because I don't think people would think it would be that fun to watch. But I definitely think it would be a good game.
Absolutely,
but it could be streamed, right? And the interesting things are the talks you have, not the results.
Yeah, more like a game that can be streamed. Yeah, definitely. But
it is a pretty popular game when it comes to streaming. There are quite famous streamers who are doing a GeoGuessr series for years now. There's one called Northern Lion. He's pretty famous, and he has done his 170th episode of playing GeoGuessr with friends. So I think it works quite well. But cool. I can see that it doesn't have the same dramatic value as a 1v1 fighting game or something like that.
Yeah. But definitely, I would try this out.
Maybe we can do it together.
And maybe you can help the developer find a UI that sort of works properly, because that's the worst about the game.
Yeah. I will try it out and see.
Yeah, a little bit.
It feels like Fallout over and over again.
Okay, so I have another annoying question at the end of our stream.
Well, those are my favorite questions.
Yes, I like them the most.
The annoying ones.
If you had to recommend 1 to up to 3 games to people who don't know anything about gaming, which ones would you recommend?
What do you mean by not know anything? Is it they don't even know what chess is or stuff?
They have no idea about games whatsoever.
Okay, so they never took a ball and smashed it against the wall.
This is just a thought experiment. Let him go.
Okay. I'm shutting up. I'm shutting up now.
Okay. So do you count chess as I mean, that's an analog game from the start.
Yeah, well, okay. But don't just go for chess.
Because chess is something that you can connect to a lot of esports, and we actually do that. But
absolutely.
I will try to answer the question shorter. 3 games. That's hard.
Most representative
Computer
games.
Or is it
I would love to go for.
games?
I would love to
Digital
go
games.
for digital games, of course. Computer games.
Okay, so I actually think that it's not an esport, but I think World of Warcraft is a great game for people. I mean, you can learn a lot from it, especially when it comes to communication and some quests you have to cooperate with other people to be able to do. You learn to use like the action hall system and to manage your finances and try to earn money in different ways. I think you can learn a lot from that game. I also think that games like League of Legends is really good, because you have to communicate with others. You have to learn and read up about the characters and everything that they can do. There's so many aspects to that game, and so many parts that are interesting. for me. So
So
I would
what's the
say
third
World of
one?
Warcraft, League of Legends, and third game. I don't really. I mean, I love Counter Strike. I have played it for so long, but I don't really believe that's one of the games I should introduce to someone.
Because then they will shoot people, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't take that game.
I don't want to take that chance.
So League of Legends, World of Warcraft, and maybe. Oh, this is also a game that I learned a lot from. That probably very few of today's esporters know about. That's called Tibia. The Tibia is also like a game that came before World of Warcraft, and it's almost like the game is still live.
What is it called?
I will write it in the chat.
Yeah, please. I want to take a look at it.
Tibia.
Okay.
It's like it looks like it made in Paint.
Tibia game. Okay.
But this is a game that actually we all played it when we were younger, and I met so many people through this game that I have contact with today as well, and a lot of professional hockey players as well that have played in the NHL, for example, played this game, and I met them in the game before I played them in hockey.
Can you compare it to Ultima Online?
Yeah, something like that. And this game is like, if you die, you lose everything you have on you, and you lose a lot of experience points.
It's a roguelite MMO.
So it's like, this game was hardcore. I mean, if you died, you almost cried.
Yeah. So it's a roguelite MMO, right?
What did you say?
Is it? So it is from the genre point of view. It's a roguelite MMO, right?
Yeah, it's an MMO. Yeah, and you can kill other players. If you kill them, they lose experience points and so on. They changed the game now a lot these last years, but when I played it, it was
these last years. It looks like it's 30 years old.
Yeah, you had to put in a lot of time to level up, and you had to do all these things and trade with people and sell stuff and negotiate with them. And the game was actually a lot about power as well. You had to be in one of the leading guilds to get the best places to hunt.
Do you know that there is a Tibia Minecraft mod?
I have no idea.
Just so you know.
There's a Minecraft mod about everything, I guess.
But this game is I learned a lot from this game in so many ways.
It looks like Ultima Online.
A lot, yeah. Yeah. But no classic titles.
No.
Rasmus. No, I don't know. No Super Mario, no Zelda, for example, stuff like that.
I played a lot of Zelda. I think it's cool, but I would still choose these online games where you have to cooperate with other people and get that interaction, because I think that is really important when it comes to games in general. So I would actually say this: World of Warcraft, League of Legends, and Tibia.
That's a very, very good list. Of course, you could find more, and you could find completely different titles. But I think there's also a lot more to come when it comes to esports to sort of round the whole thing up. Have you heard about competitive Tetris 99?
Yeah.
That is pretty interesting too, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And that's a game that a lot of people can relate to.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everyone knows of Tetris. At least the people that are in my age or older.
I can actually agree on that, because like half a year ago, I was at IKEA and I bought a couple of furniture stuff, doesn't matter what, and I put it back in the trunk of my car and I played the Tetris song on the parking space, and people were cheering about me throwing in pieces with the Tetris song in the background. It was a great experience.
Yeah, so Tetris is I mean, I spent a lot of hours playing Game Boy, Tetris on Game Boy.
like the classical one, right? Where you play in the car on your way home with your family, and you're looking for every kind of light you get to see anything on your screen you could.
Yeah.
The typical Game Boy experience where you hold your Game Boy towards the light, right?
Exactly. But it couldn't be too much light because then it would get reflecting. You couldn't see anything, so it was a struggle.
Yeah.
Yeah, 80s kids problems, you know?
It was a great time, to be honest.
Yeah, well,
maybe.
Imagine you could have grown up with esports, you know?
Yeah.
Like internet everywhere.
So
playing Call of Duty on your mobile.
Imagine me playing Fortnite. That's what you want to say, right?
Oh, I would so love it. No, you're not doing it. You're playing Ring of Elysium.
I'm not playing Fortnite.
Okay, all right. To round this whole thing up, Rasmus, please let us know where people can find out more about you and your amazing work.
Yeah, I can write it here in the chat or
say it. Go for it.
Learn2Esport.com is the best place.
That's the place to be, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and if you have any questions, you can just email them to me. You can find my mail
and
on the website.
Maybe we can convince him to play a round of GeoGuessr with us. Or Krunker. Maybe both.
Wow.
Maybe both.
Yeah.
iOlympics.
iOlympics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
GeoGuessr, yes. Caribou is a big fan of it. Absolutely.
Okay. But I think that's
it.
That's actually a good end of the discussion we had today.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a pleasure to talk with you about those topics and about Learn2Esport and all the things you said and we said, blah blah.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, most of the things we said and everything Rasmus said.
Yeah, most of the things we said and everything he said.
Let's put it that way.
That's good.
Thank you for your time, Rasmus.
Yeah, thank you for your time, and thank you for listening.
I really hope Learn2Esports will be successful, like even more successful than it is already today, and people will see. And when I say people, I mean like all of them, and
everyone in the world.
Everyone in the world should see how beneficial esports and all of the things surrounding it could be for the general public.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you for that. I hope so as well.
Do you want to mention our gaming culture?
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay.
You get the honor.
I get the honor. Next year in spring, 17th to 19th of April, we will do a gaming culture festival here in Vienna. And we have companies presenting their work there. Maybe we can have a conversation about that, Rasmus, if you would be interested to show...
To summarize it, we would be honored to have you as a guest at our B2B Group Gaming Culture Days.
And maybe even as a speaker.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be really, really fun and interesting for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really glad that you asked. So
yeah,
that's really interesting.
Sure.
Awesome.
And I want to apologize to everyone that had to see the picture of me for 2 hours.
Wait. I have one last question for you. Wait a bit. I'm switching over to the other PC with my mouse.
People are used to it because they have to watch us all the time, you know, which is even worse.
Yeah, so we wanted to change that. I have a question for you.
Let's show the hockey player.
Let's show the hockey player. Come on. Let's go to the other screen. And so I have a question for you. I was looking for a picture of you. That's Google. And I'm Googling your name, right? So is that you? Like the hockey player?
The hockey player is me, yes.
That's you. Okay, so that would be the better picture too.
Maybe not that one. That was from the division when I was...
Okay, we never showed that.
Not in my best form.
Okay, we never showed that one. How about that one? Is that you?
Yeah, that's me. And that's in a team in the...
But that's not a very beneficial...
That's my mouth guard.
That's what you say. Oh, how about that one? That looks great.
I had such long hair back then, but yeah.
Holy shit, that's you?
Yeah.
Just to compare it, guys. Just to compare it. Wait, give me a second. Give me a second. I'm getting the second picture.
Switching.
Here.
Same guy.
Same guy. Same guy.
Same guy.
I wasn't sure, that's why I didn't pick it. So
Same guy, 50 kilograms heavier.
and at least 2 of them are hair, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's fine. Next time we take that picture, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. I have to thank you so much for your time, and I hope we will be seeing you again soon, right?
Very soon,
So-
yes.
Yeah. Let's call it a day, right?
Exactly.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you again.
Goodbye, everybody out there. We are out for today. We're gonna host someone else. Don't know who, but
Maybe something about
Maybe-
hockey.
something about hockey, right? Maybe it will be like a slideshow of Rasmus Sandström, like a 2-hour side
No, we won't do that. No. Please, come on.
with sexy commentary, right?
No.
Okay. Goodbye, guys. See
you guys.
you next on
Wednesday, we will
on
have-
Wednesday, right? We will have West of Loathing, the next episode,
Exactly.
and on Thursday we're going to have a Halloween special. We will be playing Secret Neighbor and
Some other scary game?
wait. I have to do those special effects here. I have to do special effects.
What?
Okay.
So see you again on Wednesday. Bye. We out.
Bye.
Cheers.
Bye.